Hey everyone, welcome to tonight's live stream of Captain Table Talk podcast. Thank you for joining us. I know it was about 45 minutes early of what we originally projected, and then we pushed it back because we had a show lined up tonight, recording. Actually, yes, it was recording with ET. He had a cat, and we had some stuff moved up in my schedule. So, regardless if you're watching this kind of down the line a little bit or live here, thank you for joining us here on the show. Again, sorry for the the guess a lot of changing times with stuff. But again, thank you again for just another great year at the podcast. Again, year in live streams. If you haven't been too familiar with it, is I basically uh, talk about this past year and what everything has been like and done. On the guests we've had on the show, as well as kind of biggest shows and what we're looking for in the future. So, without further ado, um, I want to kind of talk about our goals that we had this past year, 2025, and we did five of them, and I think we probably I don't think we really hit any of them, but hey, these were very very good goals. Raise $10,000, and the sub goal was fundraise 4 times a year. Bring it up to on each episode. I failed to do that 4 times a year. I think I started with one, and that was about it. So that was, and we raised actually. I think it was. I don't know. Don't quote me, but it was anywhere from. It was close to 1,000. So yeah, for a hobby podcast, that is just fine. So I could get 1,000 new listeners. I'll go to other podcast shows, advertise on YouTube. Um, and this is actually kind of, I'll get down to the advertisement down later in the show. And the goals, but 1,000 new listeners, not really. I will talk about what we made on Spotify, YouTube. It really helped out when I went on other shows, other people's shows. That kind of brought the viewership up on YouTube. Of course, at Facebook, when I post to Facebook groups and I invite the people who like my posts, they like the show that way. That's how I get on Facebook. And of course, X is kind of, it's, I mean, Instagram's the younger generation, I feel like. But yeah, I mean, X is kind of anyone who likes my posts on there, I guess. So just think of what's it? Matt. We'll talk about him a little bit, but he basically really started really kind of following me on X, and that's how he came on my show a couple of times. Make a more suitable studio for the show. Find a place to live for us. Ask for help while setting up the studio. Of course, still living with my folks, and haven't really moved, so we're still in a very small rental house, and very minimal podcast equipment because the rest of it's in storage. So they are. It was supposed to be. I got a brand new. I got a pretty nice, not brand new, but a very close to brand new desk, for the future, out in the garage. But nothing suitable yet. Number 4 out of 5 interviewed two Catholic pro athletes. Reach out to the Asia do a poll to see who the listeners will want. Basically, I reached out to multiple people. I think was it this year, or the start of this year maybe. I had the former Kansas City Royal, Mike Sweeney was pretty. I think it was some talk like he was gonna come on, and then that kind of fell through. Um, as well as I reached out for Philip Rivers, and that was before he came back to playing football, and he's just too busy with his kids. Also, was Ben, Coach Ben for the Arizona Cardinals. He's a Titans coach. I'm blanking on his last name, but Coach Ben was on Bear Wozniak's show before the season. We started to him there, and I kind of communicated. Bear introduced me to him. He was going to come on my show before the season. The season, of course, I think it happened. The season got going. That might be more during this off season, so stay tuned for that. He was a pro. He was playing in the NFL. So again, not a bad goal. I did my best. That was probably the one I bet I did the best at. And then advertising too, Catholic networks. I mean, I'm pretty familiar with Reveille Radio, EWTN, maybe the local other independent stations, which are most powerful radio on. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Liking out on them. But I just was every time I looked at advertising, I kind of shied away from it actually, just because again, I don't really have. It's not really all about the money. But I did reach out to. I guess I should say I did reach out. Just the stuff was a little steeper than I liked, so I didn't. But again, it's I think that's a Super Bowl one for this coming year for sure. So let's be on the lookout for that. For goals for 2026, I haven't spent a lot of time on them. However, I think I'm just, I mean, again, it's ever since the start of the podcast, it's been a lot of ups and downs, lots of, uh, lots of great stuff, lots of, maybe some doubt. And every time, like I say, every time I think about quitting the show, just because of life, business, no one really likes it, paying attention to it, watching it, listening to it, whatever the case might be. And I know there's a lot of community. I mean, I know there's a lot of people, a lot of you out there who listen to the show every week. Thank you for that. But again, I get upset sometimes, like, oh, maybe it's just too much, I should quit. And then you've heard me say that before, that something usually happens, and I get a lot of great feedback, and they love what I'm doing, so I keep it up. So basically, this next year, I mean, I probably got 2 or 3 goals. I mean, like I said, the pro athletes, getting 2 of them on, I like that one. Advertise more, I like that one. I mean, of course, we'll fundraise. Of course, we'll get new listeners. But I think also, really pray and see what God's will is for me on the podcast. I think that's the best, one of the best routes. So that's probably goal number one. Goal number two is I would really like your feedback. I know I post this a lot on Facebook and X and everything, but really like your feedback on um, just what you want from the show this year. You know, what do you want from the show? And reach out to us via email, CatholicTableTalk, CatholicTT@gmail.com, and or other ways, and just kind of see what you want from the show. I think that's another good one. And I had them throw one, I didn't write it down. Of course, now I'm blanking on that as well. But so that's kind of two bigger ones, and the third was something like I can't remember what it was now. I had got my notes, but I didn't write it down. So yeah, so that is kind of the goals from last year, goals this year, and now let's kind of look at the Spotify wrap. I know I posted part one to it. I never have really posted part two. Um, but it was quite the year for the podcast wrap, that's for sure. 975% increase in new audience from last year. Total audience was up 65% from last year, which is outstanding. 9 countries reached over our 9 countries. That's incredible. Wow. Top countries were 5, Sweden, 4, Australia, 3, Kenya, 2, Honduras, and of course number 1, United States. So those countries, I'm like, really? That kind of stood out. That was actually pretty nice. The show was a top 5 show for 10 fans, which is awesome. The show was a top 10 show for 15 fans, and the show was number 1 for 3 fans. Okay, 3 fans, but 3 fans. That's I mean, as a number 1 show on Spotify, that's pretty incredible. I mean, I don't know who you are at number 3, but you can listen to the Pittsburgh the Clowns, you can listen to anyone else, but you listen to my show. That's pretty dang incredible. Um, so yeah, 20% of them hit play within 24 hours of a new episode drop. So the timing is pretty good, I think. I mean, I like to have the end of the week you kind of you're about worn out kind of thing, and maybe you're kind of in the same routine and the routine, and nothing with your whether it's you know podcast routine driving to work or something, but and you want some new stuff. That's what I do at the end of the, I mean, end of the week is Thursdays pretty nice. They always see the weekend. So, and top episode of the year was with Will Henry. He came back and we talked about on Spotify, I should say. He came back and talked about kind of growing up in the business world and kind of being Catholic while doing that. Growing up in business and faith with Wings of the Lord Rosary Company, Will Henry. We did that back in July, or kind of start June, July. And again, that's the top show on Spotify. It's not the top show on YouTube, but that's the top show on Spotify. And we all Catholic enough. Hopefully, we'll have you back on soon. So, check them out. It's episode 199. That's the second time on the show. So, now let's look at YouTube. Now let's look and see again. Alex is still. I mean, it's not really a year review, but our subscribers did go up, and we had great guests like Paul List, who's just been this latest episode. Malt Doom, Tolkien's Told Crack. Highly recommend it. If you have not listened to it yet, please do, because that one is outstanding. So please do that one. The other one, of course, you got Alexandra Locks, For Life. Scott Malone. Just recently, he's coming back on this week's show, so check him out for part 2 on his Revolt story. Of course, Steve Baconi. I didn't know we didn't have Steve Baconi on for like over 2 years until like I looked it up for when he was on last before the show, and he was back in like episode 90, and this is like 215 he was on. Like that was crazy. I mean, he was blown away how many episodes we had. I mean, it's like somebody I just talked to him, and yeah, so he did talk about AI, the good and the evil, and get off all the Google aspects. Check that one out. That's really a good one. Dr. George came back and talked about his health this past year and how staying trusting God and staying committed to what God had for him really pulled him through a very tough time in his life with widowmaker heart attack as well as depression, anxiety, just not. But almost ain't gonna walk by him. And he's a doctor, he's a physician, like he's a doctor, so he should know how to be the best. I mean, he's telling me what to do on the air. He's telling me how to live better and healthier. And which again, it's either something done for anyone. But that one was a very good one as well. E.T. did two about his conversion to the faith. So basically, this year we had 4 episodes on conversion to the faith and back to the faith. Check them out. Euphoria in episode 211. Episode 212, excuse me, 210 is a very interesting one as well. This is actually another kind of evil conversion story. Is Canon Crossfire with author Matthew, I know I'm going to say his second last name wrong, Mechalum. So, I'm going to show him a try. But how, Canon Crossfire, how Protestantism doesn't really stand up to Catholicism. In his book. Again, we did that just a couple of months ago, but that one was excellent. And so, really, again, lots of good kind of conversion stories. And of course, I did some. I kind of just met to be with the nuts and shooting back in August. I know we kind of went backwards in the year. I apologize, but this is where I have my notes. We talked about church attacks, in Nigeria that's still going on. We talked about we are people who grieve. We're not people who grieve, but people with but we are people with hope, right? Um, Topic next up with the God perishes. You have churches under attack by the numbers. So again, a nice little tabs on the Vatican. A nice little bit of just kind of good Catholicism talk by yours truly, which is not the best, but it's all right. So that was from episodes 205 to 209. So go check them out. Again, that's White Women Destination school short shooting will happen back in August. And just Eternal West grant unto them, O Lord. What was it, one kid? People who passed, and Eternal West grant unto them, O Lord. May a perpetual light shine upon them. May them the souls of faith depart to the mercy of God. Rest in peace. Amen. 204, we had David Anderson from the Zealot Stand. He actually hosted the show for about 25 seconds while I got cut off by my Wi-Fi. And thank you for him for filling in for that. Also, I was on his show a couple of live streams, and since then, also, folks, him and I are gonna do a co-host Christmas episode here very soon. So stay tuned. If you ever watched this, this is of course taking place on December 15th. If you have not watched this after December 19th, please look down and or go visit his site, the Zealot Stand, his channel, and it should be up there, the live stream of that. And I'm basically just going through with all the guests. I mean, I've done a lot, 203, 202. I did 200, of course. But 201, this guy was on making his rounds, like a lot of people. I guess some of them, like, my guests are too. But he's making his rounds on Purity. The Road to Purity is this guy. It's ministry, Dan Eixt. Road to Purity, Win the Valley of Addiction. Again, really great show. I got his book. I found it really like kind of simple, but yet very good information. Maybe simple is too much, not enough, but yeah, he was on multiple shows before and after me, so definitely looking up Road to Purity, episode 201. Of course, again, 199 is Will Henry with Wings the Lord. I still get rosaries for people from him, so and he's pretty good on time. So I really recommend his website, wingsoflord.com. However, again, his show is number one on Spotify. A show who was number one on YouTube was a couple before his, episode 197 with Mike Creevy. We talked about the Shroud of Turin and kind of the new scientific discoveries. And Mike was gracious enough to have me kind of come on his setup as well. And then I just hosted the show from his stuff, his software and everything. And we ran and we did a show and we did a PowerPoint on it. So again, episode 197, that was back in May, June. The most views on YouTube, and it's not too close. So go check it out. Again, thank you, Mike, for coming back on. I know he's very, just my guests are always very busy, so I really appreciate them coming on. Hugh Owen came on a couple of times during the year. He's on twice. Love, Lost, and Found about his book. Very detailed, very deep. I really recommend the book. And that was the book that my mom picked up, and it was like, oh my, I could read this nonstop, or like something like that. She was very blown away by it. So he appeared in episode 195 of part 2 and 187 of part 1, both over an hour long, so there you go. Episode 194, Miscarriage, Help is Here. You are loved, right? is the book from author and speaker Elizabeth Leon. Check that one out if you're had a miscarriage this year. If you know someone who just had a miscarriage, check the episode out. Also, 193, the state of young people with and groups in the church with Tony Miller. We talk about kind of state young people and kind of wise of people coming back to church and being excited about church, and then just how to really kind of work in groups in church and how to maybe start groups in church with Tony Miller, a really good friend. Hopefully, we can get him back on again soon. Uh, Healing from Grief with Tom Rose. I reached out to Tom Rose. We're very close to having him back on. I kind of fell through again, but hopefully we have him back on. Very good book. Just you could tell it's very personal to him. Very like he gets what people go through, and we all grieve. We all we all have someone. Well, we all die eventually, and we all have someone very close to us who dies in our lifetime. So very good episode 189. 188 in the effects of singing and making a Latin turnaround with Anthony Acosta from More Than Most Powerful Will. Very happy to have Ant-Man on. And and during Lent, we kind of did a little, series like we've done in the past. It's kind of on the letting, what you do, and how to make it good. So that one was a pretty awesome show as well. On the Martyrs Walk Challenge with Jason Murphy. And that was 184. He talks about it's not really, it's like a giveaway. It's not a retreat. You basically lose our contact with civilization. And it's like, yeah, it's just, okay, so got a bunch of guys out in the woods. But it's very more tougher and deeper than that. So, I mean, you'd be having exercises, it's hardcore. So the Martyrs Walk. Check that one out with Jason Murphy, 184. 183, we had Catholicism and Coffee with Beth and Stefan Chudowski about their channel, Catholicism and Coffee, and what they do, and it's actually kind of really cool what they do. Talking about different movies and stuff, so really check that one out. Of course, back in January, I was at work snowed in, and the snow was coming down like a banshee, and Boat Bear Wozniak was sitting in Hawaii, sunny skies, talking about going surfing, and we did a show. It was kind of late, too, because he's in Hawaii, I'm in, we're in Central Time, it's for like a 4 or 5 hour difference. 181, Rules and Reason for Manliness. Talk about his book again, 12 Rules for Manliness. So, check that one out. Every time I hear Bear talk, it's almost like I smile. I don't know why. It's just kind of like, yeah. So, something about that. I don't know. We got to get him back on too, because that's been a while. So, again, 179 are top 3 stories in the church today with podcast host Jeff Garrett. Yeah, I think I called it. Jeff Garrett. And of course, that was back in January, right? So, February. So basically, that was before Professor's dad. That was before, we had more attacks. That was more, So, but it was kind of also not so much of a quiet time going to church, but it was a time that was like, what are really the top 3 stories everyone's talking about, or what am I talking about? What should get talked about more? So check that one out. Only a few left here, folks. Only 3 left. 178, God, Sports and God, the sports broadcaster and radio podcast host, Bruce Wozniak. Bruce, really dedicated. Actually, just saw one of his episodes were coming up. Looks pretty good. And we talk about, do you put sports first or do you put God first? And how do you know the difference? And I still probably put sports quite a bit more than I would like to think about or really realize. 177, the Scoopterium project with NP Corting. Really, really good stuff. It's a big project that took some time to do. And so, again, check out, again, go back, catch up on all the episodes, and really just listen and really watch and listen to all the people who have been on the show, especially those episodes. That would be very, very good if you did that. And I would appreciate that. So, okay, so that was stuff on YouTube. So pretty much that concludes the live stream. I mean, and again, it really comes down to you, the audience. So I want to thank you again for just sticking through another year, 2025. I guess the only other thing is the schedule coming up for uh, the rest of the year. Um, it looks a little fuzzy, I will say. So this week, the week of December 15th, 2025, we got, again, like I said, Scott Malone coming on for his part two reboot story. Very, very inspiring, very, very incredible how he felt, how he had an embracing moment with Mother Mary, how he saw and what God sent to him when he died for 5 minutes and up in heaven before he came back. And then again, just how he became Catholic. So that's this week. Next week, it's supposed to be a show on this coming Tuesday, which is 24. So we'll see. That don't have a show yet. Might have Zach Hill on. Why not? We had to catch a couple times due to busy and with the weather. Because we're trying to meet in person. If that doesn't go, I'll do one by myself. After that, we'll have Ben Terrell on and about talking about society. He's kind of nervous but kind of excited about it. So we'll see how Benny does on the show. And again, we'll see how the stuff looks like. Um, as well as Eric Tafoya. So again, the recording is supposed to be he was probably going to be the next show up. Again, he had a cat so because of his busy plans. We have a live stream with him as of right now on December 29th. So we'll I just made it private again. I haven't made it public. We'll see how that shapes out, as well as a date to be announced. A Christmas episode with on the Zealot Stand with David Anderson. I'm a co-host. Actually, one of his followers suggested me as the co-host, so I'm very kind of humble and honored by that. So check that out very soon. And for next year, I haven't really given much thought of speakers yet. Haven't reached out to me. Anybody else? That's probably gonna be my job during the Christmas break. Is gonna be reaching out to speakers. Again, I'm set up for January and especially February. So holidays are here, and I'm kind of doing twice as much. It seems like, but that's all right. So again, thank you for putting up with me for another year. Thank you for putting up with me tonight. Whether you watch it again live or uh, most likely probably record because of time flex. And just thank you. Like I said, I really appreciate it, and hopefully we'll see you in 2026, if not before then, with the other live streams. And if I miss anything, if you have any questions, anything, please feel free to drop them down in the comments below. Good night, and God bless you and your family. Go stay in the state grace. Go stay in the state grace. Go to the sacraments. God bless you.